So let's go to the last section, which is hints and tricks. And it contains some things that might make working with Linux easier. You have already seen me using arrow up and down to scroll through commands. That is a very useful thing. Another useful thing is that if you start typing something and then press tab, it will autocomplete to match or the closest matches. So maybe, let's say, ls, and let's say I want to cat the file .text or file.dat. Then I start typing. I say cat file. I autocomplete. I got an E, but it can't give me more than that because there are 3 options. So instead I put an underscore and put tab again, and now it can autocomplete because it only has this one file. And that is easier than typing whole files or paths or something, because you can often autocomplete much of it. Then there are some shortcuts. Control, or hold that down and then press these letters here. Control A goes to the beginning of a line. Control E to the end of the line. Control L clears the terminal. It also clears it by writing clear, like this here. But let's say you have written something long like this here, and you want to make a change to it. Instead of having to move with the arrow back and forth, you can hold down Control A to go to the beginning of the line and Control E to go to the end of the line, and then Control L to clear it. But I already cleared it. So as I said, tab is autocomplete, arrow up and arrow down go up and down in the history of the commands you have given, like this. And Control R gives you a prompt to write text to search in your recent commands. So you could do a search in it and like that. So and you search in your bash history, which is located in $home. So it creates a history of your recent commands. So maybe the 100 most recent commands or something. And then there are aliases. You often have to write the same command again and again. If it's longer, it's reducing your productivity, having to just repeat writing it again and again, and even if you know you're using it often. And then you can use the alias command to create an alias for your command. Let's say you want to see what aliases you already have. You type alias, and then it lists all the alias given here. And at Tetralit, these are some aliases that are created for you, but you can make some yourself. And this is how it looked for me on the Kebnekaise. This is how it looks on Tetralit. On my own home computer, it looks like this here. So if you want to create a new alias, you write alias, then whatever you want it called. So for instance, LL, because you want that to be this command here. And then equals your custom command here. And you could say that you wanted C to be clear, but that's not so useful, because then let's see if it actually has that. It doesn't. But you could say alias CL equals clear, and then you could use CL to clear the screen instead of clear. So that is useful, especially if it's a very long command. And just like setting paths is only valid in that shell until you log out. you can add it to your .bash rc, and then it will be persistent. And you can do that by opening your bash rc. So tilde space to not get it on top of the letter, and then .bash rc. And then you could go here and see my aliases. I have one alias created, but then you could write another alias here and say, now when I run this, it will use that alias. Yes. But since it is this configuration file, you have to either log out and log in again or source it in order for it to be valid. So I'm going to source it. And now I can run those commands that I gave into it there. So finding help, you can do the command that you are looking for instance, ls --help, or man for manual for ls. That is useful. And yeah, you could write clear to clear the terminal. History lets you see your most recent commands. And then maybe you could simply copy it, or you know how far up you have to scroll. And you can change the number of saved commands by setting the environment variable hist size in your bash rc file. And you could then export hist size equals whatever number of commands you want to save. Maybe it's 10,000 instead of the 3,000 or whatever it is as default. Do remember that then this history file .bash.history will be larger, of course, because it saves more commands. Man and the program, yeah, man gcc, whatever, gives you info. Okay, I think that was it. Short summary, that is something I'll go over very quickly. We talked about the command line and what it was. We talked about the file system and looked at some important commands. ls cd make cd mod make dir remove copy move. We talked about symbolic links. We talked about pipes and filters, editors, patterns and scripting, though very quickly. We didn't talk about data handling, but there is something on the extra if you want to read that. And then there's some hints and tricks. There are more information to find at the various centers and various other places. You can always send question through the support at the super, or you can ask one of us, or you can put it in the Q&A document. I will check it at least through today. And I think that's it.